I'm in beautiful Mittenwald, which is Germany's original center of violin making. It's just in the Alps. You can see the beautiful mountains behind, and everywhere you look there are signs of violins and violin making. The tradition dates back to the 1600s, and it was started by Matthias Klotz, and now it boasts a violin making school, violin museum, and numerous violin makers. And of course there's also the statue of Matthias Klotz, absolutely beautiful. So there are some really good sounding violins you can get that were made in Mittenwald from the Klotz family, the Hornsteiner family, and a whole lot of others. So the beautiful town of Mittenwald suddenly became this really important trade route between Venice and Augsburg. So the Venetians, which were super wealthy, did a lot of trade through Germany, and they set up a trading post in Mittenwald. I was able to move goods from Venice to Munich and the rest of Germany very efficiently through a system of rafts. Now this is the Isar, the river that flows all the way to Munich. That's where they send rafts down from Mittenwald, trading rafts. They were highly religious, so there were prayers when they left Mittenwald. There was a church built here. There were also prayers of thanks that were given when they arrived safely in Munich. No wonder they had to pray when they left and when they arrived to give thanks, because I wouldn't want to go down that thing on a raft. These guys were super brave. So a young man by the name of Matthias Klotz went to Padua in Italy and learned under Giovanni Reilich, who was a second generation German lute and violin maker in Padua. And he basically set up a workshop in Mittenwald. Now in Mittenwald they were already making really intricate masks, probably for Venetian clients, and they were carved out of timber. Look at these, aren't they amazing? You know, they're carved from timber. I can actually see the grain. Wood carving skills that would take to make that. Like if people have wood carving skills like that, I'm sure they can make violins as well. Making these wooden masks, I mean, they are really thin. To me, they look like they are, between 5 millimeters, 3 and 5 millimeters, and maybe a little bit, tiny bit thicker in places. So the violin top plate is, somewhere between 2.5 millimeters to about maybe 4 millimeters or something like that. And the refined skills, like if you look at the mask, like the refined skill to do the nose and the beard and things like that, I mean, that's incredible. I can really understand why they'd be able to do that. So Matthias Klotz sold his violins to the merchants passing through Mittenwald. The local forests turned out to have amazing quality tone woods. And Matthias ended up becoming so busy that he took on some apprentices, including his cousin Matthias II, Wilhelm Jais, and more. It became so popular that by 1684 they actually set up a trade association of violin makers in Mittenwald. Makes me feel a little bit like work again, but I love this workshop. It's pretty amazing. Those clamps look like mine. They've just got wooden screws. They got some really incredible timber around here. So in Mittenwald, they've literally been making violins for the last close to 300 years. Since around 1685. Isn't that amazing? Believe it or not, Mozart got his violin from here. They've actually got one at the Mozart house, one of his small violins at the Mozart house in Salzburg. I really love this grindstone, it's so cool. So here's a violin by Sebastian Hornsteiner, who lived from 1908 till 1985. The Hornsteiner family was one of the big violin making families here in Mittenwald throughout the 17th and 18th and 19th century. They became so busy that soon some of the makers actually became skilled merchants, like the Hornsteiners, Neuners, and Bader families. And they started kind of monopolizing the trade in the area. And so most violin makers were now just working for these big merchants. They weren't getting paid very well for their instruments, and the quality of making kind of started deteriorating. During that time, there was still a few makers that kind of kept up the old tradition of master violin making, like Joseph Klotz and a few more. And by the early 1800s, most residents in Mittenwald were either violin makers or they were raftspeople, ferrying goods from along the Isar down from Mittenwald down to Munich. There's a few really interesting violins here. There's a violin with a lion's head from 1889 by Josef Tiefenbrunner, and another one by Neuner and Hornsteiner. Here are some violins from 1930, around that time, made by Johann Knilling. That's really cool. They've got a whole lot of scrolls and things from the collection of Giuseppe Fiorini, who was an Italian violin maker that worked in Munich, but he's very well known. And as far as I know, he had a lot to do with the Cremona violin making school as well. I love all the little drawers. Check this out. Upstairs, and this is really exciting because this is where a lot of the instruments are displayed from the different violin makers. Like there are rooms and rooms of different makers from Mittenwald. Just amazing. These are all well-known makers from Mittenwald. Like we've got some Hornsteiner instruments, some Rieger instruments, or Rieger in German. Jais, another well-known maker. Seitz from so many. Oh my God. I'm going to have a ball in here. It's going to take me probably 1 or 2 hours to get out of this room because I'm going to look at each instrument really carefully. What a great collection. It's also really good for me. You know, I've got some good knowledge of Mittenwald instruments, but, you know, I'll do anything to add to my knowledge, so having this collection is just priceless. But then the first violin making school in the world was founded in Mittenwald in 1858. And it really turned things around for the quality of violin making in Mittenwald. You will actually find students from that school all over the world now. My father, Helge Grevert, actually did his master degree at the violin making school in Mittenwald in the early 1960s. So just across the road from me is something really cool, and it's the Mittenwald Violin Making School. So I'm just going to go across the road and have a quick look. Unfortunately, they are actually on holidays at the moment. I tried to get in and do some interviews, but on this trip we had some other dates that I had to have in Europe, so they happened to be on holidays. So King Ludwig opened this school in the 1850s. The first teachers were the Klotz family, and they really invigorated the violin making in the area. But it also became a violin making school for all of Germany, and then later, now there are actually students from all over the world. It's pretty cool. I'm going to just poke my head into a couple of windows from the outside. Hopefully security won't come and eject me. Just kidding. Here's one of the older buildings at the back. Also very beautiful. What's great is that this is actually the first violin making school in the world, and it formalized violin making training a lot, especially throughout Germany, and now with students being able to come from all over the world. It's a great opportunity to learn violin making. Not quite sure about the languages. I know a lot of people speak English here, but don't know if you'd have to speak German to be able to join. But I know that at some point in the future I will be back here. Might be 1 year, might be 2 years, might be 3 years, and I will do a proper video about this school. It looks like this is the original building of the school, and just absolutely beautiful. Take a look at this building behind me. I mean, I wouldn't mind that to be my office. How gorgeous. And then right across is the mountains. So anyway, if you get to Germany and if you're in Bavaria, make the effort and travel to beautiful Mittenwald in the Karwendeltal, just south of Munich. It is absolutely worth it. There's a train that goes there. It is just an amazing place. And it's played such an important role in violin making in Germany and around the world. There are still lots of violin makers there. I've got friends who live there. Also, definitely go and see the Violinmaking Museum. It's amazing. Anyway, hope you liked this video. Remember to like and subscribe and hit the bell. And as always, keep making beautiful music. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.